many years, we have tolerated in America, not just in the illegal and highly dangerous drug traffic, but in many other areas.
Under the orders I signed today, we will also be designating the cartels as foreign terrorist organizations.
This isn't a movie scene. This is real life at the US-Mexico border. Right now, beneath your feet, beneath warehouses, homes, and parking lots, there's an entire underground world most people don't even know exists. And what I'm about to show you will blow your mind. Federal agents just exposed one of the most sophisticated drug smuggling operations in American history. And this tunnel, it's not just a hole in the ground. We're talking rail systems, ventilation, electricity, and engineering that rivals subway construction. The cartels didn't just dig a tunnel, they built an underground highway. I'm going to take you inside the HSI operation that brought down this billion-dollar smuggling empire. 6 people arrested, nearly a ton of cocaine seized, and a tunnel that extends deeper than a 6-story building. This is the Otay Mesa drug tunnel operation, and you won't believe how close these tunnels might be to where you live right now.
Let me set the scene. May 13th, 2022. It's a Friday morning in Otay Mesa, a bustling industrial zone in San Diego, California, just 300 feet north of the Mexican border. Federal agents with Homeland Security investigations had been conducting surveillance on a seemingly ordinary residence in National City. But here's where it gets interesting. This wasn't just any random surveillance. These agents had been tracking this location since March 2nd, when it was previously used as a stash house for cocaine smuggling. One person had already been arrested, but the agents knew this was bigger, much bigger. So they waited, they watched, and on this particular Friday, their patience paid off in ways they couldn't have imagined. Over the span of just a few hours, federal agents witnessed 5 separate vehicles coming and going between this National City residence and a warehouse in Otay Mesa on Via de la Amistad. These weren't delivery trucks, these weren't Amazon vans. These were cartel operatives, and they had no idea the feds were watching every single move. U.S. Attorney Randy Grossman later described the scene. The defendants were driving into garages, loading and unloading cardboard boxes. Boxes that federal agents suspected were filled with narcotics. They were operating in broad daylight, believing they were untouchable. They were wrong. The agents made their move. Vehicles were stopped, arrests were made, drugs were seized from both the vehicles and the residents. And that's when they moved on to the warehouse, the real prize. When federal agents executed the search warrant at that Otay Mesa warehouse, what they found beneath the concrete floor would redefine sophisticated drug smuggling. Carved directly into the cement, carefully concealed, was the exit point of a cross-border tunnel, not just any tunnel, a masterpiece of criminal engineering that stretched 1,744 feet underground from Tijuana, Mexico, directly into American soil.
Let me paint you a picture of what federal agents discovered when they descended into this underground passage. Because this isn't some crude hole in the ground. This is cartel engineering at its most advanced. The specifications. Length, 1,744 feet. That's nearly 6 football fields. Depth, 61 feet deep. Deeper than a 6-story building. Width, 4 feet in diameter at its widest point. Construction, reinforced walls with steel shoring. But it doesn't stop there. This tunnel had a complete rail system for moving cargo. We're talking about an underground railroad specifically designed to transport tons of narcotics. The tunnel was equipped with electricity, lighting the entire passage from Mexico to the United States. It had a ventilation system to keep the air breathable and prevent carbon monoxide buildup during operations. Think about the logistics here. Think about the planning, the engineering expertise, the money invested. Chad Plant, special agent in charge of HSI San Diego, said this tunnel represented months, possibly years, of construction. The cartels don't just throw together these operations overnight. The tunnel's entrance was located beneath a residential home in Tijuana, completely hidden from street view. The exit? That Otay Mesa warehouse, situated just east of the Otay Mesa port of entry, in the middle of a legitimate industrial area where semi-trailers and commercial traffic are the norm. This is the genius of the operation. Hide in plain sight. Use the legitimate flow of commerce to mask the illegitimate flow of drugs. The geology advantage. Here's something most people don't know. Otay Mesa is the perfect location for tunnel construction, and the cartels know it. Dr. Pat Abbott, a geology expert from San Diego State University, explained why this area is the drug trafficking sweet spot. About 13 to 15 million years ago, volcanic activity in this region sent ash into the air. That volcanic ash filtered into the sand and gravel, and over millions of years, it converted into clay beneath the surface. That clay gives cohesion to the sediment, which means the walls of tunnels can stand up without collapsing. It's stable enough to dig through, but strong enough to hold its structure. Move just a few miles east or west along the border, and you hit hard volcanic rock that's nearly impossible to tunnel through. The cartels studied the geology. They did their homework, they found the sweet spot, and they exploited it.
Now, let's talk about what was actually moving through this tunnel, because the numbers are staggering. When federal agents raided the operation, here's what they seized. 1,762 pounds of cocaine, that's nearly a ton, 164 pounds of methamphetamine, and 3.5 pounds of heroin. Let's put that in perspective. Street value, we're talking tens of millions of dollars. That cocaine alone, at street prices, could be worth $25–30 million or more, depending on purity and market conditions. But here's the thing, and this is what keeps federal agents up at night. What they seized is only what they caught. How many shipments went through before they discovered the tunnel? How much product had already been distributed into American communities? The U.S. Attorney's Office couldn't confirm how long the tunnel had been operational. Could have been weeks, could have been months. Each day it operated, tons of narcotics could have been flowing into San Diego, then distributed across California, across the entire United States. Think about the supply chain. Drugs enter through Otay Mesa, they're loaded into trucks, legitimate-looking commercial vehicles. They hit the highways. From San Diego, it's a straight shot to Los Angeles. From LA, the entire country is accessible. Phoenix, Las Vegas, Denver, Chicago, New York. The drugs seized in this one operation could have supplied multiple cities for months. And here's what's truly sobering. This wasn't an isolated incident. Since 1993, there have been 90 subterranean passages discovered in the Southern District of California. That's 90 that were found. How many are still operating right now, undiscovered? Of those 90 tunnels, 27 were classified as sophisticated, meaning they had the same advanced features we're seeing in the Otay Mesa tunnel. The cartels aren't just digging holes, they're building infrastructure.
6 people were arrested and charged in connection with this operation. Let me introduce you to the defendants, because these aren't just low-level mules. These are key players in a major trafficking organization. The defendants: Mario Jaramillo, Huntington Beach resident; Adrian Enriquez, Paris, California; Manuel Perez, San Diego; Juan Cruz, San Ysidro; Vanessa Ramirez, San Diego; Luz de Luna Olmos, San Diego. All 6 were charged with conspiracy to distribute over 1,750 pounds of cocaine. Olmos and Ramirez faced additional charges for methamphetamine and heroin trafficking. Each charge carries a mandatory minimum of 10 years in federal prison. We're talking about spending a decade behind bars, minimum, and that's if they cooperate. If prosecutors pursue maximum sentences, these defendants could be looking at life imprisonment. U.S. Attorney Randy Grossman didn't mince words at the press conference. "I'm very happy to report there's no light at the end of this narco tunnel. We and our agency partners will continue to work zealously to take down every subterranean smuggling route and other means that drug traffickers use to bring illicit drugs into our community." The investigation strategy. This wasn't a lucky break. This was the result of months of coordinated, patient investigative work by the Costa Pacifico Money Laundering Task Force, a multi-agency team that includes Homeland Security Investigations, HSI, San Diego Sheriff's Department, DEA, U.S. Customs and Border Protection, CBP, and the United States Attorney's Office. These agencies pooled resources, shared intelligence, and conducted around-the-clock surveillance. They followed the money, they tracked the vehicles, they identified the players, and when the time was right, they struck. HSI San Diego Special Agent in Charge emphasized this point. This tunnel was discovered because of the patience and tenacity of federal agents who are passionate about protecting their communities from the scourge of drug addiction and related violence. This is a message to the cartels. The San Diego Tunnel Task Force is watching. They have the technology, the expertise, and the dedication to find these tunnels, and they will bring you to justice. So what does all of this mean for America, for your community, for border security? Border security challenges. Even with walls, fencing, surveillance technology, and increased personnel, the border remains vulnerable because while we're watching the surface, the cartels are literally going underground. Joseph Rood, a Border Patrol agent, put it bluntly. Basically, putting this tunnel out of commission is a national security concern. These tunnels can be used for all kinds of different things beyond drugs and human smuggling. Think about that. Tunnels that can move tons of cocaine can move other things too. Weapons, people, contraband of all types. In an era where border security is tied to national security, these tunnels represent a vulnerability that goes beyond the drug trade. The human cost. Behind every pound of cocaine seized, there's a story of addiction, broken families, overdose deaths, and destroyed communities. The opioid epidemic, the meth crisis, the cocaine trade, they all connect back to operations like this. According to the CDC, drug overdose deaths in the United States exceed 100,000 annually. While not all of those deaths are tied to drugs smuggled through tunnels, operations like the Otay Mesa tunnel contribute to the supply that feeds addiction across America. U.S. Attorney Randy Grossman emphasized this. We and our agency partners will continue to work zealously to take down every subterranean smuggling route and other means that drug traffickers use to bring illicit drugs into our community. Ongoing threat. Here's the reality. This tunnel is shut down. These 6 defendants are arrested. But right now, as you're watching this video, cartels are planning the next tunnel. They're surveying new locations. They're recruiting engineers. They're acquiring equipment. It's an arms race. Law enforcement develops better detection technology, and the cartels develop more sophisticated concealment methods. Tunnels get deeper, longer, more advanced. Recent discoveries have included hydraulically controlled steel doors, underground elevators, climate control systems, communication networks, storage facilities, multi-exit designs. These aren't amateur operations. These are professional, well-funded, highly organized criminal enterprises with the resources and motivation to keep building, regardless of how many tunnels get discovered. So what can we learn from the Otay Mesa tunnel operation? First, the war on drugs is far from over. Despite decades of enforcement, billions in funding, and advanced technology, the cartels remain formidable adversaries. They adapt, they innovate, they persist. Second, border security requires constant vigilance and multi-layered approaches. Walls alone aren't enough. Technology alone isn't enough. It requires dedicated agents, interagency cooperation, intelligence sharing, and community involvement. Third, there are heroes working every day to protect our communities.
The men and women of HSI, DEA, Border Patrol, and local law enforcement, they're the ones standing between us and the cartel's billion-dollar drug trade. They deserve our recognition and support. What you can do. If you live in border areas like Otay Mesa, stay vigilant. If you notice suspicious activity, unusual construction, strange vehicle patterns, unexplained sounds, report it. The San Diego Tunnel Task Force has a tip line, and many tunnel discoveries have come from citizen reports. Support policies and funding for border security and drug interdiction efforts. This isn't a political statement, it's a public safety issue that affects communities across America. And if you or someone you know is struggling with addiction, seek help. The drugs coming through these tunnels destroy lives. Break the cycle. Final thoughts. The Otay Mesa drug tunnel operation is a success story for law enforcement. 6 arrests, nearly a ton of cocaine seized, a major smuggling route shut down. But it's one battle in a long war. As long as there's demand for drugs in the United States, there will be supply from the cartels. As long as there's profits to be made, the cartels will find ways to smuggle their product. The question isn't whether there will be more tunnels discovered. The question is, how many more out there right now operating in the darkness beneath our feet? Stay informed, stay vigilant, and remember, the fight for our communities continues every single day. Thanks for watching. If this video opened your eyes to what's really happening at our border, hit that like button, subscribe for more investigative content, and share this with someone who needs to see it. Drop a comment below. What do you think about the cartel tunnel operations? Should we be doing more? I'll see you in the next one.